Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Desktop Ball. It's the only show where I sit at my desktop and talk ball. Today is Tuesday, December 17th, and we had another NFL week. This week was absolutely awesome. We're in week 15 of the NFL season in the books. Um, Big games, fun games, blowouts, close games, um, just carnage. Carnage in the National Football League with 3 weeks left to go. It should be great. I hope you continue to pay attention, stick around, and keep tuning into the show because we're having a blast going through it all and talking some ball. Let's kick it off with Chiefs Browns. Chiefs 21, Browns 7. I have a few friends that were at this game. Um, Cold, rainy, Carson Wentz versus DTR at the end of it. Jameis Winston gets benched for throwing too many interceptions, which he threw a lot of interceptions. And Patrick Mahomes obviously goes down with that. Was it an ankle injury? I think it was an ankle injury. He's had ankle injuries in the past. The big one in the Super Bowl where he goes out for a drive and then comes back, is able to play the rest of the Super Bowl and win it. Um, so as far as the severity goes, I'm really not sure. Um, but the Chiefs get a win in this game, improve to 13-1, 21-7. Uh, I really hope we don't have to watch Carson Wentz for too long. Give me 1 week at Carson Wentz tops, please. They finish with the Texans, Steelers, and Broncos. And if Patrick Mahomes has to miss, 1, 2 weeks, look out for the Buffalo Bills. They have the tiebreaker here at 11-3 over the Chiefs because this is their one losses to the Bills. If the Bills win out, we'll assume the Bills win out, and if the Chiefs lose 2 games, then the Bills will be the 1 seed. So there's definitely that to be interested in and be following. How important is it for the Chiefs to get the 1 seed compared to resting Pat Mahomes and making sure he's ready to go? I have no idea. That is why they pay Andy Reid whatever they pay Andy Reid. I'm sure that he'll figure it out and have a good plan. Um, the Browns play the Bengals defense next week. I would really like to see Jameis against the Bengals defense. That game could just be an absolute shootout and could be a total blast if we get some Jameis. I really don't want DTR in that game. It's just not fun like Jameis is fun. But nice win for the Chiefs. They get to 13-1. Um, a little worried about Pat Mahomes, I'm sure, but it's not like he's going to be ready for the playoffs at worst, and you're already in the playoffs. So at worst, you've got Pat Mahomes and you're in the playoffs. I'm sure it's all going to be okay. I'm sure they're going to win the Super Bowl again, but um, if they do have to go to Buffalo in the playoffs, that's a pretty big deal compared to that game being at Arrowhead. So definitely keep an eye on that. The Bengals sort of keep their playoff hopes alive. 37-27 win over the Titans. Um, Will Levis interception, fumble, interception. Mason Rudolph comes in, looks no better. The Titans are going to be kicking themselves for winning a third game when it comes time to draft a quarterback, and the Giants and Raiders are ahead of them. They're not going to be able to get one of those two marquee guys. And the Bengals are technically still alive in the playoffs. They could go 9-8. They need basically everything to break their way. They're effectively dead, given that the Colts lost, and we'll get to the Colts. Um, but theoretically, they could make it, and they're fun to watch. They score 1 million points. I'm sure if you own a bunch of Bengals in your fantasy league, be it Jamar Chase or Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, even, as long as it's not the Bengals defense, I'm sure you're doing pretty well and probably still alive in your fantasy football league, unless the rest of your team is somehow just not good. The Bengals are fun. They're absolutely fun, and I just want to see them keep winning. See if they can make it interesting in the AFC, but at 6-8, it's probably going to be too little, too late. Commanders 20, Saints 19. The Commanders needed to go and whomp the Saints in this game, in my opinion. I needed to see 40 points. I needed to see get right, look like you're ready to go, to the playoffs, look like you're ready to play good teams. They escaped against Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler and the New Orleans Saints, who are bad. Um, and maybe this Commanders team, maybe we just crowned them too quickly. I mean, Jaden Daniels played well, but not, I mean, just 20 points, like not, I guess not well enough. I don't know. Like it was one of those games where it was like, okay, this game's over. And then you go focus on all the other games that are happening in the window. And then all of a sudden there's 2 minutes left in the game and the Saints are driving and, they're only down seven. It's like, whoa, what the hell happened? The Saints score, they go for two on the final play. They fail, they lose the game. Um, I don't know why they played Jake Hayner. Spencer Rattler was better, like way, way better. Um, and yeah, I mean, makes you wonder if the Saints just played Spencer Rattler the whole time, could they have won this game? Once he comes in, it's the boost they need, and they were able to compete in this game. But Commanders escape, get the win. I don't trust the Commanders one bit. I don't know if you know, I don't know who does. Eagles, Falcons, Cowboys to finish could be interesting. Maybe they'll find a way to beat at least maybe one of their division rivals. I don't like the Falcons at all. Maybe they'll beat the Falcons. So I think the Commanders are a playoff team. I think they will get in, but I don't think anything other than a playoff berth. I don't think they can win a playoff game. They look just a little, I don't know, a little cupcakey, I guess. Ravens 35, Giants 14. The Giants are just so bad. Like I was in my car and I was just thinking like, you know, the Giants, like it's almost like they're just not even a football team right now. Like the way I get up to watch the Texas Longhorns is, like I watch it and I feel like I'm analyzing football and I'm trying to figure out like, what can we do to score? What can we do to stop them? What can we do to make things happen? Oh, like what's Quinn Ewers doing? Can he play a little better? What's the coach doing? Oh, these play calls are interesting. This is fun. This is cool. This is interesting. And I know Texas is good, so that's a big part of that. But then I go and watch the Giants, and I'm like, this isn't even football. This is just like it's just like I don't even know. It's just like people out on a field. It's like it's just there's no competitiveness in these games. It's literally just like how many stats can we get Malik Neighbors to make everybody think that we did a good job with our draft pick is basically what it is. And I like Malik Neighbors a lot. I think he's going to be great, especially with Shadur Sanders next year. But it just doesn't feel like football to me. It feel like what I feel when I watch Texas, or even when I watch like players on my fantasy team. Like I own a lot of Rams. How I feel when I watch the Rams or the Longhorns, or I'll honestly pick like any competitive football team. Um, I don't feel that with the Giants. I just feel like I feel like nihilism when I watch the Giants. It's like, okay, let's go lose again. Let's go lose again as a 15-point underdog. Let's not even cover at home. The Ravens are really good. Lamar Jackson's playing at an MVP level. He would be the MVP in any other year. Um, Josh Allen is minus 900 on DraftKings right now to win the MVP compared to Lamar Jackson, who's in second at plus 550. Saquon following it up at plus 1300. I think it's a three-horse race. It's one of those guys, and it's probably even a two-horse race. It's probably not Saquon Barkley. Um, I think Lamar, I mean, he's right up there in terms of deserving it. But if you've watched a Josh Allen game in recent weeks, it's it's Josh Allen. It has to be. But the Ravens are good. They're playing. I mean, they're playing well. They've got Steelers, Texans, Browns to round it out. If they beat the Steelers and Texans, I'll be in on this team being potentially a Super Bowl caliber team. They're definitely really good. They've had some weird slip ups here and there, but I mean, if Lamar Jackson's on the field, there's no doubt in my mind this team can compete. My big question is, can they do it in the playoffs? They have not been able to do it in the playoffs in the Lamar Jackson era. They have not been an effective playoff team. Um, but there's always a first time for everything, right? Like everybody can't win the big one until they do. And come March, if I'm doing the show for college basketball, which I'll probably do at least like hey, like here's my bracket, and like it probably won't be weekly, but you get what I'm getting at. Um, I'm gonna have this same conversation about Rick Barnes in Tennessee, is my guess, because that Tennessee basketball team is so fucking loaded. And yes, Rick Barnes always loses in March, and no, he's not been able to get over the hump, but everybody can't get over the hump until they do, And then when they do, it's like, oh, like congratulations, Andy Reid. Andy Reid. Oh, he can't win the big one, can't get over the hump. Yeah, he can't win the big one. Tell me today that Andy Reid can't win the big one. Go into, any public place and say Andy Reid can't win the big one, and think about how fucking stupid you sound. And everybody's going to laugh at you. And that's what people say about the Ravens now, and Lamar and the Ravens in the playoffs. Everybody can't win the big one until they do. I think Lamar and the Ravens are right there with any other team in this league. They can compete with anybody. They've beaten very good teams. Um, at their best, they are one of, if not the best team in the NFL. The secondary is concerning. Yes, they'll probably get gashed by somebody in the playoffs. And they'll have to be able to win shootouts. They did it to the Bengals, though, and I don't know what you think of the Bengals, but the Ravens are really, really good. There's no doubt in my mind that this team is capable of making a playoff run. It's just going to be if they run into the Chiefs or the Bills, and they're likely to run into both. Can you win those games given that you will have the weaker defense on the field? And it's an interesting question. Maybe. Cowboys 30, Panthers 14. Hey, did you know the Panthers were favored in this game? And I took them. I picked the Panthers in this game as a favorite. What the hell? What the hell was anyone thinking? What was anybody thinking? I don't know. I guess the Panthers were hot, but like they're not. Favored? Come on. Come on. Nice day for Cooper Rush. Nice day for CeeDee Lamb. Nice day for Rico Dowdle. Terrible day for Bryce Young. Sacked a billion times, sack fumbles, interceptions, disaster. Even though these stats don't look bad, 19 for 28 for 219, but if you watch the game, you know it was a disaster. Jets 32, Jaguars 25. I don't care, but Davante Adams had a really nice day. 9 catches, 198 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was incredible. I saw a headline: Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams give vintage performance. All right, vintage performance. Like, yeah, Davante Adams was great. I don't think Aaron Rodgers was special. He got the ball to Davante Adams, who was wide open every single play, but I didn't think he was vintage Aaron Rodgers. Vintage Aaron Rodgers is, running out of the pocket, hitting guys on the move. That's not what this Aaron Rodgers is. This Aaron Rodgers can't move. But you won a game. You beat the Jaguars. Good job. Beat them by 7. It's hard to win on the road in this league, is what many people will say. Texans 20, Dolphins 12. Is Tua ever going to play well in a good game? Like, are we ever going to see a big game for the Dolphins where Tua comes out and plays well, or is a difference maker even in the game, or even like doesn't shoot his team in the foot? It feels like this Dolphins team and Tua is capable of beating up on bad teams. They're very good when there's no pressure. But as soon as it's time to play somebody decent, it just crumbles. And the Texans do have a really good defense. And the interior of that Dolphins offensive line is still relatively weak. But the Texans offense was bad in this game. They couldn't score. Plenty of self-inflicted wounds, couldn't score. All Tua has to do is go score 20 points with Tyreek Hill, Devin Achane, Jonnu Smith. This offense is loaded. Mike McDaniel's scheme. And he just throws interception after interception after interception. And it's just like, how many times is this going to happen where the guy just like can't play in the big game? It's really frustrating to watch. It's really frustrating to watch. Texans escape. They're a team I don't trust. Unlike the Ravens, who are also at 9-5, and even maybe the Broncos, who are at 9-5. I don't trust the Texans one bit. The offense just does not look good. I do love the defense, especially Will Anderson. I think the defense can really play, but you just can't convince me this Texans team is going to go on a run or be Super Bowl capable. Um, did I say Super Bowl? Super Bowl capable. I'm not even sure what I said, but the team's good. It's not great. Could they win a playoff game? Yeah. Can they string together three? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Um, but they effectively eliminated the Dolphins in this game. The swing game of all swing games in the AFC wildcard race was Broncos Colts. If the Colts won this game, everybody's path opens up. If the Colts lose this game, everybody's paths close. And here we are. Broncos 31, Colts 13. The paths have officially closed. Where to begin? I think the Colts had all the momentum, all of the momentum. Up 13-7. Jonathan Taylor breaks a 40-yard run and scores a touchdown, 20-7. And the game, it looks like it's just going the Colts' way. They've come out and they've stymied the Broncos offense, and their offense looks decent. And they're on track to go to Mile High, beat the Broncos, and have a really impressive statement win and get to 7-7. But wait a minute, they're not calling it a touchdown. They're not calling they're the refs are standing in the middle of the field. They won't put the points on the board. Why? Why are the points not on the board? Well, Jonathan Taylor dropped the ball before the goal line. He dropped the ball before the goal line, trying to be, I don't know, trying to be cool. Like, what is it with this epidemic of people dropping the ball before the goal line? If I was a head coach, first, like, not first thing, but one of the things we would talk about is you take that football to the back of the end zone. You take it with you all the way to the back of the end zone, and then you want to spike it, you want to dance, you want to do whatever, you want to like look cool. That's great, look cool. You don't start looking cool until you are at the back of the end zone. You hold on to that thing because it's a mental error that happens too much that swings games. I mean, they lost this game because of it. In part because of it. Because 20-7 feels like with all the momentum. I mean, it feels like a dominant position. 13-7 with the Broncos having the ball does not feel like a dominant position. And then in the second half, the Broncos come to life and they beat them badly. The other thing that cost the Colts this game, well, I'll do two more things. One, Anthony Richardson is so bad. Anthony Richardson is so bad. Not accurate, wild, too many turnovers, just everything you don't want in a quarterback is Anthony Richardson. Yes, he has good legs, but I mean, you can't win with Anthony Richardson. I still think this. I I applauded the Colts when they went to Joe Flacco over Anthony Richardson. I really still think that he gives them a better chance to win. And you want to see what you have with Richardson? Fine. See what you have. This is what you have. You have 17 for 38, 172, and two picks. The other thing that cost the Colts this game was when they did seem like maybe there was going to be a little momentum coming back and, try to catch up in this game. They go trick play, backwards pass across the field and then another pass all the way back across the field. It gets intercepted and taken to the house. It just a stupid play that looks even stupider when it fails. Game of the week, Bills 48, Lions 42. This game was awesome. This game was why we love the NFL. Game you tell your kids about, like Rams Chiefs, all those, 5-6 years ago, whatever that was. Bills Lions, Bills 48, Lions 42. The Bills go into Detroit and it looked like they were going to whomp the Lions. Frankly, it looked like they were going to whomp them. And Josh Allen, I mean, let's start here. Josh Allen might be the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. He might be the best quarterback I've ever seen. I mean, I know like it's between Allen and Mahomes for me. And Mahomes is obviously incredible. Absolutely incredible. Um, But this version of Josh Allen that we're seeing this year has to be the best quarterback I've ever watched play football. I mean, he hasn't been sacked in a month. You cannot sack the guy. He's unsackable. He's huge. He is a threat with his legs, but not just in a speed way, but also in a power way. You can't just have, you can't just have like a DB trying to tackle Josh Allen. More than often, they're not going to succeed. Um, he's extremely accurate this year. He's been extremely accurate. Hits his guys, makes the right read, has not thrown many interceptions, and he scores touchdowns with his legs. He can throw touchdowns, he can run touchdowns. He is the complete package. You can't tackle him, you cannot sack him. You have to worry about his legs. He's going to hit his guys downfield. He has been perfect. Everything you want in a quarterback has been what Josh Allen is this year. Um, and I mean, they scored 42 last week against the Rams and lost, 48 this week against the Lions and won. I mean, this team can score a billion points. Their defense, honestly, is better than this scoreline indicates. They were in a lot of prevent towards the end, and the Lions were able to score off that. But um, it looked like they were going to whomp the Lions. The Lions start working on a comeback, and Jared Goff played really well. 494 yards, 5 touchdowns. I mean, this game was just incredible, just an absolute shootout. Okay, the Lions defense is banged up. It's very banged up. So there's also that, and they're probably better than like at the start of the year they were better, but now you've got David Montgomery just went down, and the defense is banged up, and it just feels like the Lions are not what we thought they were you know in the part of the season where we were saying they were the best team, right? They're still incredible. They're still absolutely capable of the Super Bowl run and winning the Super Bowl. But it's going to take some philosophy change because you've lost David Montgomery. The secondary is not going to hold up. Um, the pass rush has not been doing what the pass rush was doing with Hutchinson, obviously. And yeah, I mean, this is where you end up, where you're allowing 48 points. We talked about this as maybe being a potential Super Bowl, look ahead spot. I left this game thinking that the Bills absolutely can win the Super Bowl. I left this game thinking that the Lions maybe could make the Super Bowl. I don't know. I mean, they're very good. They're both of these teams are incredible. It's just, there's levels to this. And frankly, if we want to talk about how there's levels to this, let's go. Eagles 27, Steelers 13. I've been saying the Eagles are my Super Bowl team for weeks now. Everybody else is going to start to jump on the train now that the Lions have lost and the Eagles went and, manhandled the Steelers. This game is not as close as the box score looks, frankly. Just absolutely dominated this game. That defense is so good. Just keep drafting players on the Georgia defense should be the plan because it just keeps working. Offensively, you've got A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. You can't cover both of those guys and worry about Saquon and worry about Hurts' legs. You just can't do it all. You can't do it all. They're the best roster in football. They're healthy. And despite the dysfunction and Nick Sirianni being insane and all of that, Jalen Hurts is just that cool, calm presence. He's been that way for a while now. I don't particularly like Jalen Hurts. Like, I don't know. He's very understated. He's very just chill and, downplayed, I guess. But I think that's great for the Eagles. I think that's healthy to have a leader who's just about his business, who's just saying, like, we're going to go do our thing. We're going to go win. Especially when Nick Sirianni is a clown show and I mean, they have all the markings of a poorly run franchise, except for the roster is incredible and they just keep winning. They just keep winning. I still think this team is my Super Bowl team. I keep saying it every single episode. Eagles are my Super Bowl team. Eagles are my Super Bowl team. Eagles are my Super Bowl team. I'm not going to stop. They're incredible. They have the best roster in football. If somebody knocks them out, it will be because that team played an incredible game. Or because the Eagles played a poor game. But at their ceiling, Who's better than the Eagles right now? I don't know. Maybe the Bills. Uh, Cardinals 30, Patriots 17. This one kind of got swept up in this 4 o'clock slate where all these games were so great, and Cardinals Patriots. I'm sorry, you just can't bring me to care. You can't bring me to care. Um, Maybe the Cardinals could make some noise in the NFC West, but I think the Rams are better. I think the Seahawks are even better. So I don't know. Probably not, but they're competitive, they're fun, and it's a nice win over the Patriots. They outplayed them. And again, okay, here's something you want to sound smart talking to your friends. When are the Cardinals good? When James Conner's going. 16 carries, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns. Very simple formula. When the run game is going, when James Conner's going, the Cardinals are going to win. And if their run game's getting shut down, they're just not they look like a shell of themselves. Bucks 40, Chargers 17. Wow. I picked the Bucks in this game. I thought to lose by 2 points, not to win by 23. Um, I mean, you want to talk vintage about Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams? How about vintage Mike Evans in this game? Mike Evans is pushing for another year of 1,000 receiving yards. He's done it every single year he's been in the league, which I think is 9 years. He is just the marquee example of consistency in this league. He's absolutely incredible. Big body, tough to bring down, fantastic hands. He's great. Baker Mayfield's great. He's playing at a very, very high level. 22 for 27, 4 touchdowns. He's been a top 5 quarterback in the league this year. Like unironically, he has been a top 5 quarterback in the league this year. The Chargers are a team that I thought was going to go and you know maybe be able to make a run in the playoffs, maybe be able to make some noise in the playoffs. I don't know. They don't have the roster. They don't have the roster. I really like Justin Herbert. I really like Jim Harbaugh. Outside of that, they don't have the roster. Um, and while I think they're good and they'll probably make the playoffs, it would be the Chargers losing out if somebody's going to steal their wild card spot, the Chargers are going to have to lose a few games, but um, they just don't have the roster to win. I mean, like they'll be the 7 seed probably and go on the road to Buffalo or Kansas City or you're not winning that. You're not winning that. I think the Chargers are a first round exit, which is unfortunate because I think they're fun. I want to root for them. I like them a lot. Uh, but it's a really successful year one of a rebuild, right? Like consider the Brandon Staley Chargers. I mean, this team lost 63-7 to the Raiders last year. Um, the rebuild is on its way, and the Chargers will be good in coming years. They've got the quarterback, they've got the coach, they've got Joe Alt. Um, I mean, the Lad McConkey's great. Like they have the pieces. They've got Rashawn Slater. They have some pieces. They need more pieces, and they're going to get there. Packers 30, Seahawks 13. Bit of a tale of two halves here. First half, the Packers come out, they run the football, absolutely everything works. Josh Jacobs looks like a perennial pro, and they're just mauling the Seahawks. This game is not going to be close. And then it's halftime, and the Seahawks start stopping the run. And the Packers look a little confused, and, it's not quite working on offense. And then Geno Smith goes down with an injury, and the Packers break it back open, and the game ends up not being close. Jackson Smith and Jigba's great. He really has come into his own this year, taking a big leap as a sophomore in the league. Um, I think that the Packers are really good. I mean, their losses are to the Lions, the Vikings, like it's to really good teams. The Eagles, but outside of those teams, I mean, I don't know who's like, and they've hung in every game. Like it's not like the Packers have gotten blown out a single time this year. 5 to the Eagles, 2 to the Vikings, 10 to the Lions, 3 to the Lions. So their worst losses by 10 to the Lions. Um, but they're really, really good, man. They're really good. I mean, if a team were to catch the Eagles in the NFC, I mean, the Packers are right there, and they're not going to get talked about much because the Lions are sexy and the Eagles are sexy, and the Vikings, like Justin Jefferson, look at what he's doing. There's a whole lot of I think just like I mean, for lack of a better word, there's a whole lot of sexy in the NFC and a whole lot of teams that people are like going to keep their eyes on. But this Packers team could make some noise. I mean, they're just as good as anybody else in the league, frankly. They can absolutely hang with anybody. Um, and they go deliver a massive blow to the Seahawks, who are now tied for this division. We've got the standings here. Let's check it out. Yeah, tied for the division, and they are currently down in the tiebreaker, I guess. The Rams and Seahawks play each other week 18, likely for the division. So keep your eyes on that in the NFC West. I like the Rams. I really would like to see the Rams in the playoffs, just because they can score with anyone and they play fun games. Vikings 30, Bears 12. Ugh, snooze fest. Absolute snooze fest. The Bears are just so bad. Their games are just tough to watch. Um, and the Vikings get a nice win. The Vikings do a really nice tribute to Randy Moss in this game, and Randy Moss has some kind of cancer. I couldn't tell you the exact situation. I'm sure you could look it up, figure it out if you'd like, but obviously, I mean, the team's rallying around the legacy of Randy Moss, and they've got Justin Jefferson, they've got weapons, they've got backs, they've got defense, they've got Kevin O'Connell. The Vikings again are just as good as anyone in this league, and my big holdout with them on why I won't pick them to be in the realm of a team like the Lions or Eagles or Bills, Chiefs, etc. is quarterback. I don't trust Sam Darnold. I can't bring myself to trust him. I think he's very good, definitely. Like he's playing very, very well, but can he elevate the team? Can he, are you going to win a game because of Sam Darnold ever? I'm not sure. You're like, you definitely win games because of Jordan Love. You win games because of Allen and Mahomes and Lamar and, Herbert, Burrow. Like these guys can go and win you a game. I don't think Sam Darnold's in that tier of like, I can go win this game for my team. Justin Jefferson might be on that tier, but Sam Darnold, I'm not sure. Um, that being said, the Vikings are, I mean, they're really good. And the whiteout, I really like the Vikings whiteouts that they wore last night. Big fan of them. And then on the other channel, which frankly, I did not watch this game. I watched Bears Vikings. Falcons 15, Raiders 9. The Falcons are bad, man. They're bad. And I can't believe they're bad because it seems like they should be good. They've got a good roster. Kirk Cousins, he's not playing great, but you would think he'd be better than this. They snap a 4-game losing streak. They get a win on the road. Hard to win on the road in this league. Sure, that's fine. They play the Giants, they play the Panthers, and then they got the Commanders in between those. They could win out. They still could win their division. Like the Falcons could absolutely be competitive. But then you watch a Falcons football game and it's like, this team's not going to win out. This team stinks. And I don't know how they stink. Like they need to be better. I guess maybe Kirk Cousins is playing poorly, but like I don't know. They need to be better if they want to make a run in this division because the Bucks are playing well. They're playing great football. Let's see who the Bucks finish with. We can talk a bit about that division. Cowboys, Panthers, Saints. All right. So the Bucks are probably going to win out. And the Falcons could also win out, but they're down a game. So I like the Bucks to win the division still. That's where we're at. All right, let's do a little college. There's really not a ton to talk about in college. There is the college football playoff coming up. I will do a whole bracket and some previews and all that good stuff on the Thursday, Friday, whatever show. I will be in attendance at Clemson, Texas. Very excited for that game. Going to be a blast. Gonna be screaming my head off. I've got a bet with one of my buddies that Texas will cover not just 11 and a half, but 18 and a half. So, um, I'll be ready to, probably ready to pay up, frankly, the way Texas has been playing in recent weeks. But come on, Horns, let's go. Anyhow, well, yeah, I'll be at that game. I'll do a bracket on next Thursday's show. Um, is there anything really to talk about in college football outside of the Bo Prabula news? Um, Flag planting, Cade Klubnik, nah. We already did Bill Belichick. Deep CFP, every single game is worth watching, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, not really. Uh, what there is to talk about is this. So, Bo Prabula is the backup quarterback at Penn State. He says he has no intention to transfer, right? At the start of the week. And then, the portal is going to close. The way it works is the portal closes December 28th. Okay. Well, if the portal closes December 28th and the national championship is until January 20th, you're going to have a problem where players in these playoff teams who need to transfer, for example, Bo Prabula, because Drew Aller is going to come back to Penn State next year. I mean, what do you do, right? Like, what do you do? You're in a no-win situation, and this isn't Bo Prabula's fault. I know some people will like knock him for quitting on his team or like whatever, but that's not the situation. The situation is the guy needs to enter the transfer portal because he wants to go play somewhere, and that's fine. You should prioritize what's best for you. Especially in today's day and age of college football, he should be able to stay with the team. It doesn't make sense. So either the portal needs to change or the playoff needs to change. Now, which one is more possible? Well, what's more possible is the playoff changing. And the reason for that and not the portal is because these people have to be enrolled in schools and they do enrollment before January 20th. I mean, we're in school, we're in class January 20th, right? So so that system can't work. Like we can't extend out the portal because these people have to enroll in schools and we're still pretending they're students and not just athletes. So this is what it is, right? So that doesn't work. So what would work? Well, why not conference title games and then the next week, round one of the playoff. The next week, round two of the playoff. The next week, round three of the playoff. The next week, round four of the playoff. And then we're playing the national championship at worst on January 6th. At worst, right? And that's a whole lot better of a system and then you extend the portal out to, January 10th. It ends January 10th. And that works because people can get to school, get to class, all that on time. And that system is obviously much better than the current system. I saw Joel Klatt pitch, and every week I do a Joel Klatt reference, pitch that Army Navy would be week 0. And it would be the standalone game week 0 instead of, these weird international games and like FCS teams playing. Only one football game, week 0 of college football. It's Army Navy. It's flashy. It's the pomp. It's all of the pageantry, everything that is college football is Army Navy, a standalone game. The cadets are there, and that's, what could be more American than kicking off the football season with standalone Army Navy, right? And then that frees up that next weekend after conference championships to start the playoff and play football, play these games, and set up the portal in a way that, people are able to take care of it. The other problem that this runs into, though, is, well, what about the New Year's Six bowl games that they have to be on New Year's or around New Year's, right? Like I don't know, change the system. Change the system. Put away the old system. The bowl system does not work in the college football playoff era. You want to play games at these bowl game sites? That's great. You want to call them these bowl games? That's great. But it's a national championship semifinal and a national championship quarterfinal is what they are. They're not like They're not these bowl games. The Rose Bowl was the winner of the Big Ten playing the winner of the Pac 12. Well, the Pac 12 doesn't exist, and the Big Ten is now the Big 18. And also now it's a playoff semifinal game. That's not the Rose Bowl. That's not the Rose Bowl. I mean, it's played at the Rose Bowl, but it's a college football playoff semifinal game. And it may host, it may be Oregon versus maybe like a Texas. So maybe it's holding a little bit of that Rose Bowl feel, I guess. But that's not what it's meant to be, right? Like that's not what the bowl system was. The bowl system was, you know, conference champion plays conference champion or, next best team if the champion's in the championship game. And, we play these bowl games and they're fun and this is the system, whatever. But you have the same archaic people trying to fit this new system around the old system. The old system needs to go. It needs to go, and we can look back on the history and look back on what these bowl games were and how great they were. And you can still call, you want to play the game at the Rose Bowl and call it the Rose Bowl, that's fine. But mandating that it has to be on New Year's Day that's a mess. It's a mess. And the college football system can't work in this way. So I hope there's change. I hope there's reform. I know there will be. There's too many smart people in and around college football for this to be as stupid as it is. So I'm sure they'll fix it. But just an idea. The Army Navy Week 0, I think, is a great idea. And then immediately playing the playoff so that players can jump in the portal if they have to makes sense to me as well. I've seen people pitch once you transfer, you have to take a year off, stuff like that to discourage transferring. I don't know. I mean, there's a whole lot of ways. There's a whole lot of potential fixes. A league commissioner, a set playoff where X number of teams from X number of conferences. I mean, there's a whole lot of ways to fix it. It will be fixed. It will continue to be improved. And this is a new system. And, maybe we didn't realize the extent to which this was going to hurt the players when we pushed the playoff out to January 20th and close the portal on the 28th. But here we are. I'm sure we'll get it fixed. I'm sure we'll get it taken care of. Hey, if you don't mind, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. And we're very grateful to have you watching. I'm very grateful to have you watching. Thank you so much. And I will see you all in the next one. It's going to be great. We're going to do a bracket. We're going to do NFL. We're going to do it all. It's going to be a preview episode, and it's going to be incredible. And then I will be in Austin at Texas Clemson and, having a great time, having a blast. Best of luck to everybody in your fantasy football playoffs. And if you didn't make it, haha, you suck. And if you're already out, feels bad. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.